Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. It's great to see everyone again. We've been doing this a little bit regularly over the past 48 hours, but it's very important because public safety is very important to me, and the steps that we've been taking over this week are moving us in the right direction toward creating a city, a community of opportunity, a safe community of opportunity for all. Today is another step where we're taking a giant step forward in the areas of public safety and community policing. And as you all heard me say before, and I said on the campaign trail, public safety is job one for my administration. I keep saying it, but residents in Pleasant City, Coleman Park, deserve a safe, secure environment, just like anyone who lives in Ibis and Andros Isle. And so what the steps that we've been taking over the past few days are consistent with that. Listen, the greatness of our city is no longer a secret. All eyes are on West Palm Beach. Whenever our president flies into this county, he drives through our city. Not only are we the county seat, and the capital city in this county and the regional economic driver, we're fast becoming one of the best cities in the nation in which to live, work, and play. More and more people want to live here. More and more people want to work here. And so as you would expect, we're facing some of the same growing pains and law enforcement challenges as our friends in other thriving, growing cities. And over the last several years, I have had the opportunity to work closely with the West Palm Beach Police Department and our broader law enforcement community. I've been a city commissioner for 8 years, a city commission president for 2 terms. I've been a board member of the Palm Beach County Criminal Justice Commission and a member of the committee conducting a national search for former West Palm Beach Chief Vincent DeMasi, and now as mayor. So, ladies and gentlemen, I could not be any prouder than I am today to introduce you to Chief Frank Adderley, who was my nominee for Chief of the West Palm Beach Police Department. A little bit about Frank Adderley. Chief Adderley started in Fort Lauderdale in 1980 as an officer in the patrol division. Only question I have, Frank, there is a number of questions, but you're about 60, right?
-3.
Oh, 57, okay. Because I was just wondering how come I got so much more gray hair than you. I couldn't understand that. All right, so back to serious. He started in Fort Lauderdale in 1980 as an officer in the patrol division, moved up to detective, then served as sergeant of the patrol division, detective sergeant, police captain, police major, assistant chief of police, and from 2008 to 2016, chief of police of Fort Lauderdale, where he oversaw an annual budget of $100 million, 535 sworn police officers, and 190 non-sworn employees. Of additional note is his role as a major narcotics detective when he worked with the USDEA's task force. Now, his last position was the rank of colonel with the Broward Sheriff's Office in charge of the Civil Division, Courthouse, Communications, and Community Services. Chief Frank Adderley has dedicated his entire adult life to public service. In my view, he is the best candidate for this job. He has almost 40 years in law enforcement. He has the ability to demonstrate the ability to address homelessness and reduce crime, particularly violent crimes and homicides. He's experienced in community policing. He's experienced in developing and nurturing relationships. He knows about customer service and creating a culture of responsiveness. He knows how to create an environment that rewards transparency and accountability, and equally important, he knows the South Florida region. Chief Adderley holds a master's degree in public administration from FIU and a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Broward College. He has received more than 20 departmental commendations and 80 public commendations. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you who will be the next Chief of Police of West Palm Beach, Chief Frank Adderley. Frank, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you for those kind words, Mr. Mayor. And first of all, I want to thank Mayor Keith James for his nomination. This is definitely a privilege for me to be nominated to be the police chief here in this beautiful city of West Palm Beach. I think that this city is a good fit for me. I come from a city just an hour south of here, Fort Lauderdale, who has the same dynamics as the city of West Palm Beach. Only thing that's missing here is you have a name, beach, and Fort Lauderdale has a beach. So you don't have a beach here, but everything else, you have everything that we have. The mayor says his #1 top priority in this town is public safety. So the question, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are saying to me, what are you going to do if you get this job on June 3rd? And on June 3rd, my first thing is to come in and I'm going to educate myself as to the makeup of the city and the people, the men and the women of the West Palm Beach Police Department. I'm intending on interviewing every one of those individuals that come to the police department that took an oath to serve and protect and make the city of West Palm Beach safe. And then I'm going to go out to the communities. I'm going to meet, my goal, if I had it my way, I want to meet the 110,000 full-time residents here in this city. Because when you meet the people that actually live here and understand what they're looking for in their police agency and this overall goal of keeping our city safe every day, we learn all of the variables that they believe need to happen in order to keep us at a very safe city. So collectively, when I put the two together, I'm going to come up with an operational plan, and we're going to address all of these issues that are on the list, the two of which that stands out is homelessness and violent crime. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people are talking about these 50+ unsolved homicides. So having said that, I think we're open for questions.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Chief Adderley, during your time as Chief of Fort Lauderdale Police, violent crime went down about 30%, I believe is the numbers. What was your secret? What was the magic? I mean, what do you expect to bring from Fort Lauderdale to here to West Palm?
Well, some of the things that we did in Fort Lauderdale is we had 82 homeowners associations in that city, and we had interactions with all 82 pretty much on a daily basis. We had liaisons in our patrol divisions, our investigative divisions that spoke with them on a daily basis. Anytime that we had crime patterns that we identified in our crime meetings, which we had every day. Every day, 10 o'clock, I had a crime meeting in the city of Fort Lauderdale, and I wanted to know exactly what crimes took place the day before and who those individuals, through our intelligence-led policing system, were responsible for those crimes. And if we weren't able to get that answer, that was the challenge for our investigative bureau. We determined in the city of Fort Lauderdale that it was less than 10% of our residents that were actually responsible for crime being committed in our city, based on our intelligence-led policing system. So I would say my big thing is to bring that to West Palm Beach. I've already heard that they already have that in place. We met with the command staff earlier, and they have a committed intelligence-led police strategy here in the city of West Palm Beach, along with their real crime center. So those things collectively, I think, definitely helped us when we were in Fort Lauderdale, and I think it can work here.
That's it?
No. Nothing in the press release that announced you even mentioned that you were at BSO for 3 years. What was your experience there, and what was your role at Parkland?
Well, I was at BSO for 2 years. I had no role in Parkland. As they said earlier, I was in charge of the courthouse, communications, the community outreach, and the civil division. Now, there's a piece in there about communications where they said during the Parkland incident, a lack of communications, which was being transferred, where calls were coming in through the 911 system to the Coral Springs Police Department, and that was supposed to be transferred to the Regional Communications Center, which would have dispatched that information to the deputies that were at the school. There was no fault with the people that we supervised, because we supervised the operation of the communications center. The equipment part of it, which basically the sheriff's office is a vendor for the county, and the county system was, and their system interacting with the city of Coral Springs, which was the problem that day, that was something that was addressed by the county. So that wasn't something that was addressed by the sheriff or I during that incident.
I'm sorry, I just had a quick follow-up. You were terminated from the BSO. Why would you say that was?
Well, the only person that can actually answer that question is Sheriff Tony. I mean, you know, I heard great things about Sheriff Tony. When I found out this young, innovative guy coming in, he's going to take over the sheriff's office, and I was assured that I was going to be a part of his team. And then one day, I think his first day, he decided to let me go. So I can't speak from him because that's someone I'd never met, and he never gave me a clear reason for doing that.
We're hearing that the federal government is going to be releasing hundreds of immigrants into Palm Beach and Broward counties soon, I guess. Do you have any thoughts on how you will address that?
Well, I tell you what, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's like just north of here, correct?
Well, we're Palm Beach County, so they're thinking Riviera Beach. That is where they're going to go. But
Yeah, which is just north of here. I say that brings definitely some challenges because they're going to put a number of people in the street. Do those individuals become homeless and be a part of the homeless population? I think we have to definitely stay in tune and monitor that and definitely come up with plans as to how we're going to deal with that. You know, if you remember back when the Mario boat lift came in Miami, I mean, I was like a rookie patrol officer down in Fort Lauderdale at the time. I mean, I got my Billy Gunniger that's here, he can relate to this. But, you know, it was a number of agencies that were involved in that. I mean, we were being dispatched to Miami to assist Metro-Dade and the city of Miami when they had issues. So I'm pretty sure, just like every other county throughout this state, we have a system in place that we're going to be able to get resources to come in here and assist us in dealing with them.
Can you say what your plans are? I know you've had discussions with Mayor James about a specific area of the city, the north end of the city, where we've seen a lot of violent crime in a short amount of time, and it seems to be consistent. Can you talk about, you know, those couple of blocks, just kind of our resources, would you imagine resources would be shifted to that area? Because other residents are concerned that they may move resources around where their communities may not be covered because there is such a focus on this one area of the city.
Well, let me just say, I'm not going to put the cart before the horse and say resources going to be shifted because I don't know where the resources are today. But I'm definitely going to evaluate that. I mean, I personally lived in the most violent neighborhood in the city of Fort Lauderdale. And I did that by choice. Because every morning that I woke up, I wasn't just waking up as the police chief. I woke up as a neighbor of the city. So I was very engaged in what was going on in my surrounding, in my neighborhood. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm a new resident of the city of West Palm Beach. So everyone, there's 110,000 people that wake up every day in this city. I'm going to be a part of that group. So when you say what we're going to do in this particular area, I definitely have some thoughts on crime suppression, visibility, undercover, but I don't really think I could discuss that right now because I don't really know what's being done there right now.
You may not be able to address this either, but you did talk about addressing the unsolved violent crimes, the unsolved murders. What are you going to be able to bring to the table that's not being done now to address this backlog of unsolved?
Well, you know, that question of what do you bring to the table that's not being done now? You got to understand, I don't know what's being done now. So my goal is, come June 4th, I'm going to sit down with the captain I just met, who's in charge of homicides, and he and I have already had this discussion. I want to look at every one of those cases, these 50-plus unsolved homicides. For me, you know, people could tell you the story, but for me, I'm a guy, I have to sit down and read it. I got to read it. I got to see what the witnesses say. I got to look at the evidence. I'm an investigator by heart. So when I see the case for myself, and sometimes, you know, as a trained investigator, you could probably pick out some things that, you know, the person did very well. And then you can pick up some things and say, well, did you try this or try that? You know, not to be just the Monday morning quarterback, but I want to look at all of those cases. So I want to see if there's anything that relates to them, what stands out. What is the common denominator? You know, those type of things. And then you take that and you formulate a plan.
What are your thoughts about policing your own officers? Right now, we have a story we were working on that aired a while ago, on an officer that's being investigated now by Adderley within the department, and other officers have been investigated for theft and misconduct and things of that nature. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, you know, I think this Florida state statutes kind of speaks as, you know, you can't commit a crime. I mean, I'm not going to stand and allow people to commit crimes, whether you're a sworn officer or not. And it's the discipline process. And I think the discipline process is a fair process. And everyone gets their due rights. I mean, I understand the discipline process, and many people who have participated in it understand that, you know, there's the Florida Bill of Rights for officers, and we have to follow them, and we have to hold people accountable. So if it's one of those situations where somebody is being investigated and they did absolutely nothing wrong, I'll be the first one to stand by them and say, I'm with you. But if there's some deficiencies in their performance and there's some corrective measures that need to be taken, we're going to have to take them.
What were some of the strategies for homelessness that you felt worked for you in Fort Lauderdale?
Well, I thought in Fort Lauderdale, very similar to downtown here, we had a number of business people, especially during the lunch hour, that were complaining about homeless people disrupting their businesses, in a sense. You know, we have this real nice area, Los Olas in Fort Lauderdale, where you have these nice restaurants that serve these $50 and $60 lunches, and then all of a sudden, this homeless person comes along on their property and disrupt that. And that really affected their business on a daily basis. And, you know, collectively, you know, after our city had been sued a number of times on different things, sort of feeding, and, you know, we had to take some enforcement action. So everyone realized to be homeless, we understand homeless people are people with problems, they're not problem people. However, but when you're homeless, it doesn't say that you can commit crimes and they need to be ignored. My experience and what we saw in Fort Lauderdale is the majority of the people, they have more social issues, mentally challenged individuals, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, all of those things that are happening in their lives that cause them to be where they are. And we had homeless outreach that were able to work with social services, get the people who were actually asking for help, getting them help, and those chronic individuals, unfortunately, we had to get them in the system in order to help them. And I understand that the city now is looking to bring in a homeless court here is one of the things that's being discussed. Something that's being done now in the city of Fort Lauderdale that's working very effectively in reducing our homeless population and getting people help.
Chief, what's the message to the criminals who are committing the more violent crimes here in the city, the murders and the high number of shootings that we've had, particularly since this year?
What is my message to them?
What's your message?
We're going to get them. We're going to lock them up, and we're going to make the city safe. And we're not going to let them continue with their violence and destroying the peace and safety of the city.
What are your thoughts on the possibility that you may be met with some opposition? Some commissioners have voiced that they'd like to see a national search for the new police chief.
Well, I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Having, you know, been a part of search committees and process throughout the country where they actually do these type of searches, cities pay a lot of money to get a person that is familiar with their city, know the issues in their city, can come in day one and start working on solving the problems in their city. And if you take into account, I'm this guy. And our South came from a city bigger than this city. City with the same makeup as this city. Same problems. My record speaks for itself. I've solved the problems in Fort Lauderdale. And not just because I'm saying this to stroke my ego, by no means. Call Fort Lauderdale and they will tell you that. We were very effective with our daily operations, and we made a difference there. I feel confident that I could do the same thing here.
Can you say what your reaction was when Mayor James approached you about this, and how long ago was that?
Well, I mean, to get an opportunity like this, I mean, this is for a police chief to come to a city like this. This is a great opportunity. Honestly, I'm humbled.
But where did you two first meet and fall in line?
Beg pardon?
Where did you two first meet?
I think back during the Smart Water. We were the first city to implement this Smart Water, the crime reduction product. And I believe Mayor James was good friends with the CEO, Logan Pearson. He introduced us. And we brought that to Fort Lauderdale, and I think eventually it came to West Palm Beach, and we communicated on that. I think this first time we met.
Any other questions? Anything else you'd like to add, Mr. Adderley?
I'm happy to be here. Be a new resident of West Palm Beach.
Oh, yeah, you said you lived in the most dangerous neighborhood in Fort Lauderdale. Are you doing something similar here? Are you living in one of our more...
Well, I don't know if you would consider it the most dangerous, but I'm going to be downtown. I picked a place that was relatively close to the police department, so you know I can basically walk to work. And but I would definitely be looking to eventually make that move. Yes.
Since you mentioned downtown, sorry, I just have one more question. A lot of residents who frequent downtown and used to live there have moved out and say that they're kind of afraid because of some of the issues with crime that downtown had in a short amount of time. What are your plans to solve that? I mean, do you think that police presence is a big deterrent of crime there, or what do you think might work in that area?
Well, what worked in Lauderdale, we had a combination of both. We had undercover operations and we had uniform presence. It all determines on the type of events, the nights. I'm pretty sure our big presence is going to be a lot different on Friday and Saturday nights than they're going to be on Monday and Tuesday. If we have patterns of crime that any other day of the week, that's what we're going to develop our operational plans, and we're going to address them.
Thank you.
Okay? There.
Thank you all very much, and I hope that you have just gotten a little taste of what we are in store for once the chief is ratified by the City Commission. My concluding thought is we just had a meeting with the command staff from the police department, and having heard him talk to and express his vision to the command staff, I mean, he had me ready to run through a wall and put on a uniform. And that takes a lot. But no, the energy, the enthusiasm that he brings, we are in for a real treat in terms of leadership of the department.
Mayor, I'm sorry, one more. Are you still going to need a liaison between you and the police and other departments since you're already...
Oh, I will keep the public safety liaison. That was never meant to just be a police situation. I want my liaison to also help us deal with what's going on with the homelessness situation, the code enforcement issues, also helping us understand what's happening with fire, emergency management. So no, that person will be continue to be an essential part of my team as we look at operations throughout the city. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate your time.